Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a very casual chit chat, get ready with me style advice video. I asked you on Instagram what you're struggling with in your businesses right now, and I got so many responses and so many people just saying that you've appreciated the videos that I've been putting out lately that are just a little bit more chill and a little bit more like authentic and talking about the challenges that I'm going through in my business. So I find those videos really helpful too. So let's get into what is going on in yours. The first question that came in is the one thing you told yourself to push yourself to take the leap, starting a new business here. So I'm going to be honest with you. The decision to start a business is very, very personal, or like that thing that finally gets you over the edge is very personal. And for me, I had an idea that I wanted to start a business for quite a long time before I actually did. This is the REM liquid eyeshadow, by the way, in heart, little heart like thing. Yeah. I had an idea that I wanted to start a business for quite a long time before I actually went full time. And I mean, I think number one, test the waters, see how it goes, see if you actually like it, see if it's viable, obviously, before fully taking the leap. But for me, it was like experiencing a tragic loss that I've talked about before. You know, my dad died really suddenly and very, very young. He was only 51, and it kind of put things into perspective for me. I was like, I don't want to spend my whole life wondering what if. But what really, really sold me on the idea was, I think I was talking to a friend. He was like, you know, you can always just go back to a job if it doesn't work out. And that was so simple, but so honest. You are a capable person. You can totally apply for a job, whether that is at Starbucks, whether that's at a corporate company. You have the capability. This is not a forever thing. This is not a forever commitment. Just because you start a business doesn't mean you're going to be a business owner forever. And I even feel that way now. I'm like, yeah, in theory, if I was offered like a really good C-suite level, marketing executive job, would I take it? Maybe, for the right company, So nothing is forever. You can constantly reinvent yourself, and there's no shame in that. So that helped me see it as a season rather than like, this is it. You know what I mean? Similar question is how to transition to freelance without ruining the relationships with my bosses. This was something else that I was really scared about. Juice Beauty, by the way, is what I've been using for my CC cream. Yeah, I was really nervous about that because I really loved my job. Honestly, I really loved my day job, and that kind of makes it hard, in a way, because it's like I didn't have like this axe to grind, where it's like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. I really appreciated the experience. I loved my bosses. So I was lucky in the sense that they were supportive, and they did know that I had, for example, a YouTube channel, and they did know that I freelanced. You got to weigh it out, right? In my experience, I was just honest about it. They connected with me on Facebook and kind of connected the dots themselves, and they saw it as a net positive because I was in marketing at my company. And so they saw, oh, she's getting all this other experience that she can take back to the business. And so I was fortunate in that way. I know not all bosses are like that. Some are like, oh my gosh, they feel really threatened by it or something. So you got to kind of feel it out yourself. But if they're cool, if you do have a good relationship with them, maybe just start by opening up and saying, hey, this is something that I've been doing, sharing it as a benefit to them of here's what I'm taking back to our company from this other experience that I'm getting, and see how that goes. My direct boss really did try to help me get my job as a client. They ultimately did not do that because the higher ups were not super happy about it, but she was great, If that's not realistic for you, at the end of the day, you just have to think about it as a business relationship and just be professional. I left with quite a bit of time for notice. I didn't do the whole 2 weeks notice thing. I did I want to say it was close to 2 months, honestly. It was like 8 weeks or 6 weeks. It was a long time because my job was really important. That's the thing, and I recognize that. And I know that they recognize that too. So I gave them plenty of time to replace me, for me to wind down my activities and all of that stuff. So as long as you give a good amount of notice, as long as you do due diligence, like I was helping to interview the person who was going to be my replacement. I did SOPs and stuff like that for that new hire. I mean, I really did my due diligence. As long as you do that, technically speaking, they shouldn't have any issues with you leaving. This is a new concealer that I just bought because the one that I was using wasn't vegan. This is by Bare Minerals. It's the Bare Pro 16-Hour Wear Matte Concealer. And it has SPF 25, so that's great too. Next question. Imposter syndrome for the past 4 years due to hating content creation for myself. They go on to say, I feel that within my content as a social media manager, I'm educating other social media managers. How do I change that? This is such a common thing, the whole like talking to other social media managers thing. And I know I'm guilty of this because that's what I'm doing right now, but this content that I'm doing right here has a different purpose than content that I would create if I were looking to get done for you social media management clients. And I think it is really important to just be very, very clear about that because I see so much of it. People will post day in my life as a social media manager or advice for social media managers and then wonder why they're not getting corporate consulting clients or social media management clients. So know your goal, know your objective, know your audience. That's just basic marketing stuff. That's basic, audience building stuff is who do you want to talk to? What is the goal with the content, right? Do you want to get clients? Do you want to make friends? Because that's valid. If you want to make other social media management friends, make day of the life of a social media manager. But if you're looking to get clients, you need to speak their language and you need to know where they are. For me, I do occasionally, actually, I do pretty regularly get client leads from YouTube. But honestly, if I'm like, ooh, I need to pay the bills, I need to get a client today, I need to close some deals, I'm going on LinkedIn. That is where my people are. Now, your mileage may vary. Everybody has a different niche, a different audience. So if you are targeting like fitness coaches, well, they tend to hang out on Instagram a lot or even TikTok maybe. There's different niches and different audiences for everybody. So I'm not saying universally the answer is LinkedIn, but for me, the answer has been LinkedIn. Knowing your audience, also knowing what they respond to. A corporate client doesn't really care about a day in the life of a social media manager. They care about me being specific to their industry and maybe like case studies. Here's a case study of a client in that industry that I worked with, and here's the actual results, the tangible, quantifiable results that I got that client. So you just have to do a little bit of research there. And shameless plug, you should join my course, Authority on Autopilot. It is going to be a course / a community for all of Q1. And we'll be working together to build out our content to do just that, to generate leads, to actually make a tangible, quantifiable impact, not just to have fun, although that is a totally valid reason to make content too. But I'll leave a link down below if you want to learn more about that. It's going to be hands-on, live classes, all the things. And this is the NYX eyebrow glue. The reason that I switched to this, for anyone who cares about the makeup portion, is because my eye condition, I've learned that waxes make it worse. And all of my eyebrow pencils, I could not find one without either a synthetic wax or a beeswax. And this is like the only thing that doesn't. So this is what I've been using. I don't really love it, but it is what it is. Okay, pricing tips. I'm still figuring out my pricing for a coaching business. And then similar question, how to know if your pricing matches the value you offer. So pricing is kind of a whole thing, I will be honest, but that is a great place to start. Is the second question, how do you know if the value is ask, right? Take on some beta clients. I started out doing really, really cheap beta calls because people were asking me for it. And that's a good sign that it's time to start charging for stuff. If people are regularly asking you, hey, Latasha, do you offer coaching calls? Do you do this? Do you do that? And I was like, okay, I guess so. Like $50, $50. That's kind of what I started with for my coaching calls. And that was a really comfortable rate for me to obviously pay for my time, but also be able to just feel it out and feel like, did that person walk away with value? Did they actually say, wow, this helped me so much? Did they come back 2 weeks later asking for another one or, sharing a win with me? If they did, basically every successful call, I would say, okay, I can raise the rate a little bit. Maybe not every call, but you know what I mean? Like every couple of calls, all right, let me raise the rate 10, 20, $50. And then I did, $100 coaching calls for a long time until I started to feel like I was really overwhelmed with the demand and I was just seeing a lot of results. So basically my point is do the same thing, like take on essentially beta clients. That's what my $50 calls were without me even really realizing it. reach out to people, say, hey, I'm trying this new service. I've got a limited number. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, whatever your schedule can allow, and offer these calls and ask to follow up in a couple of weeks and see if it actually moved the needle. That's how you know about the value. I think the other piece to pricing is a little bit of competitive research, right? I've had clients say, wow, I would pay $1 million for this call. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like, obviously I'm not going to charge $1 million for a coaching call ever, because that is just not industry standard, right? Like, other people are not asking that. So it would fall way out of the realm of normalcy. You got to know kind of what the going rate is. So do a little bit of research. Don't let that drive you too intensely though, because you don't want to do a race to the bottom. And you also don't want to say, oh, well, there are people charging $20,000 for something who have been in business for years, or maybe don't have that ethical of business practices, right? You don't want to compare too much, because everybody has their own different ways of pricing, but that's kind of like a short answer. Pricing is a whole thing though. I have some videos on it. We can go deeper for sure. Book recommendations for productive girlies. I just did a little Instagram Q&A and I shared what's on my reading list, which is Slow Productivity. I'm so excited to read that. And I think I'm going to start bringing back some book kind of reviews on the podcast for 2025 and the end of the year. So hopefully I will have that one ready for you in December or January. You should read it if you want to read along with me. Slow Productivity by Cal Newport. I mean, I'm recommending it and I haven't even read it yet, but it seems like it's like exactly what I need. Oh, another one that's on my list is the 12-week year. Again, I haven't read it, but I've heard such good things about it. One, if you are looking to write or create, that I always recommend is The Artist's Way by, oh my God, Julia Cameron. That's more of a creator book. This person asked for productivity, but I think it is helpful because it really forces you to just get your ideas out and not overthink them. So if you're a productive creator or you want to become one, I think that's a really good one. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm going to do my mascara really quickly. It's really hard to do on camera, and then I'll come back and finish the rest of these questions. All right, I'm back. Post-election anxiety, how do you not let it affect your business? So I think the answer is it's going to affect your business. If you're feeling anxiety about the election, which honestly, no matter who you are and who you voted for, I think this year, was a lot for everybody, right? Everybody kind of felt some level of anxiety, and a lot of us are feeling it post the election, of course, as well. And we have to acknowledge it is going to affect our business. We are humans, not machines. For me, that meant planning ahead. I had the luxury, if you will, of being able to do this because I'm pretty much fully in control of my schedule, where I didn't take meetings really that whole week, essentially. And I planned that in advance. That may or may not be realistic for you, but I think just accepting either I'm going to be happy or I'm going to be stressed out, and I don't want to be staring at a Zoom screen during those feelings. That was really helpful to me to be able to just allow myself to process, for better or for worse. And then, I think the other thing is just, this is just me being honest as a woman in business. Honestly, I just have to keep on keeping on. I think one of the most powerful things we can do is stand in our power. My therapist has said this, I've read this in books all the time, that anxiety is basically, it's fear of what isn't even real yet. And it may never be real. And I don't want to downplay, the real political implications of all the things, right? I don't want to downplay your anxieties, but the truth is we don't know yet. That's the thing about politics, is you don't know what's going to happen. At a certain point, you just have to say, I am going to deal with things as they come. And I know that's hard, and I know there are very real things on the line, so I don't want to downplay your fear or your anxiety, but that is at its core what anxiety is. Something that really helps me with anxiety in general is moving. It's like getting that energy out, because that energy needs to go somewhere. I've learned to love working out. Going for runs or walks in particular when I'm feeling really anxious really helps me, even more so than like Pilates, which is just my normal workout. Talking to people, venting, having a good clean vent, or maybe not clean, having a good dirty vent session, a good throw it out on the table vent session really helps. To talk to someone you love and trust. Writing really helps me. Just write out those fears, write out those anxieties, get them out of your head onto a paper or into the, gym, if you will, get them out of your body, and then just say, we're going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to stand in my power. Also, just build a community of people who I know share my values. I think that's really important too. We've been talking for a long time, so I'm going to wrap it up. I want to answer this question though really quickly, and maybe we'll do a part 2. Let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this video, and I will answer the rest of them in a future video. Maybe we'll do something else like make some food, or maybe we'll get ready again. I don't know, but this is basically my everyday makeup look, in case you guys are curious. But I want to answer this last question: how to do minimal work yet be satisfied? Asking as a tired mom of a newborn and 6-year-old. So I obviously do not have a newborn or a 6-year-old. I am not a mother. So I can't relate on that level, but I can relate on the level of like life just lifing. And I think this goes along with the last question too. When life is giving you trials and tribulations, again, you just have to acknowledge I'm a human, I'm not a machine, and I'm gonna do the best that I can. I was actually watching a vlog from this woman. Her name's Mikkel Jancy, I think is how you say her last name. And she went through a divorce a few years ago. I'm going through a divorce right now, going through a lot in my personal life. And in one of her Q&As about the divorce, she mentioned, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but she said, essentially, my goal during that year was just to keep myself alive. And I really needed to hear that because, as I mentioned when I first opened up to you all about the divorce, I have been beating myself up about, oh my gosh, like I am not crushing it like I was last year. I'm doing well in business, but I'm not doing excellent. I'm not beating last year. And that feels like a failure. I need to give myself some slack. You, the person who asked this, need to give yourself some slack. If you're going through a major life change, like having a baby, you just brought a human being into this world. I am completely, I'm leaving a relationship of 9 years. I'm changing the way I go about life. I'm moving, I'm doing all these different things. These are huge life transitions. And even when they're good, even when they're things that we want, like having a baby, I'm like, yes, leaving a relationship was something that I wanted to do. It still takes so much emotional, physical, in your case, especially energy out of you. And we just have to acknowledge that we're humans, we're not machines. So the point is, it's finding that balance. That's what it is for me. Right now, I feel really happy with the amount that I work. Honestly, lately it's been a few hours a day. I've been traveling. I've been investing in my friendships and my relationships, being around people who love me. That's what I need. That is what I need when I'm going through this huge life change, life transition, more than I need to make, $1 million this year or whatever that might be. So same for you. These are very pivotal times in your children's lives. So you probably need to invest a little more in them right now. And then, when your newborn is a little bit more independent, well, then you can go back a little bit to the business. So I think it's just understanding that life is all about balance, right? There's going to be ebbs and flows in business. And that is why this is so amazing that we can do this. Because a traditional job, I would probably be fired by now because there were weeks where I didn't do anything. I think it's just important to have gratitude, even though I feel a little bit like a loser. I feel a little bit like a failure doing this minimal level of work this year. I also feel extreme gratitude for the fact that I'm able to do minimal work, that I'm able to have flexible work, that I'm able to choose what I'm doing. So hopefully that helps you as well. Yeah, my camera's flashing at me, so I have to go. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments if you want more of this kind of casual style. And if you have anything that you need advice on, drop it in the comments, or I'll put a questions box up on Instagram very soon as well if you want to do it anonymously. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.